We're going to make some photograms here, and I'm just going to talk you through how that's done. So to begin with, we're going to be using an enlarger, and you'll see one right behind me, and I'll flip the screen around here so you can see how that's done. So here's an enlarger. We're going to be using these when we're printing photographs that are film photographs. Right now I've got the normal room lights on in the darkroom, but normally when we're working with photo paper, we need to have it be completely dark in here except the red lights that will turn on in the room on the ceiling. To operate our enlarger, we're going to want to make sure that we have light that kind of travels large enough to fit the paper that we're going to be using. We're going to be using 8 by 10 inch paper. So you'll find some scrap 8 by 10s around that you can use to just judge the size, and we'll place that down and mark out where the edges of light are. So to mark those out, we'll use some blue tape. So we're basically going to be raising and lowering this enlarger head and focusing it to make sure that we have enough light to fit our photogram. So I've marked out the edges with blue tape so that I know where I can place the photo paper to make sure that it's going to be good. The next step is to use objects that we're going to create shadows on the photo paper. So pick out some objects that you want to bring in that help to create a theme, something that the photogram is going to be about. For this photogram, I'm going to be representing some movement of feathers that are coming through the paper, and I'm going to have some rice that's used on top of the paper that'll make kind of some, I'll be able to draw on it basically and make some movement there. All right, the next step of what we're going to do is do a test print, and we're going to do that using some test strips. So that way we can figure out how much time we're going to need to hit the photo paper with light to get the look that we want on our photogram. With the darkroom lights on in the darkroom, now I can do my printing. To turn on and off the enlarger, we're going to be hitting this switch right here. I can turn it on and turn it off. These timers are in various states of disrepair, so I don't really trust the time that's on them. Normally you'd turn the enlarger on by clicking the button there and it would go for a certain amount of time. So we're going to do things a little bit more old school here, where we're just counting off the amount of time that we use. So I'm going to go to the test strip area, and I'm going to take out a whole piece of paper that I'm going to place down with the shiny side facing up. I'm going to place that underneath the light, and then I'm going to take one of my objects here, a little bit of that feather, place it on top. Inside your workspace, there should be a piece of cardboard that you can use to block light. And we're going to be doing second long exposures. So first we'll expose the whole paper with 1 second of light. On, off. Okay, then I'm going to block some of the paper, and I'm going to do another second of light. On, off. Okay, then I'll move the paper a little bit again. Normally you'd be able to do this just hovering that thing over the feather. What I really want to see is, when am I getting to pure black on the paper, but also not drowning out that feather. Okay, once you reach the end of the test strip, you know that you've done as many as you can with that test strip. So we'll take that little piece of paper and we'll run it through the chemicals here. Okay, the first one is paper developer. So we put that right in there. We're going to cover it up and then use some tongs to make sure that it stays under. Okay, and the paper is going to start to instantly develop. I know it's very hard to see on the video, but this needs to stay in the developer for 2 minutes. There's a little piece of paper here that says 2 minutes. Okay, then we go into the stop bath, and the stop bath is 1 minute in length. Okay, then we move it over into the fixer, and the fixer is for 4 minutes. Now for test strips, we really just want to see quickly the amount of time we need to use. So we really only need to keep it in here for about 1 minute before we can put it into a photo tray, using some tongs to move it out and look at it in the light to be able to tell how much time we should use for our photogram. This is what our test strip looks like. The end here shows 1 second of light, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So I would say 1 second's probably not quite enough. Probably around 2 to 3 seconds. Where the feather is a little bit thicker, it stayed white, even all the way at the 4 second range. So somewhere right along there. So next it's time for me to use the test strip to know how long. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 seconds, between 3 and 4 for the amount of light. So I'll get the darkroom lights back on here, and I'll put down a real piece of photo paper, and I'll make my arrangement on top, and I'll know how much time I need to hit that paper with light. Alright, so I've arranged what I want to for my photogram on the paper, and now I'm going to hit it with 4 seconds of light. 3 to 4. 1, 2, 3, off. Okay, so now if you did have anything that was kind of like rice or something like that, you want to remove your objects, and then just to not make a mess, you can bend your paper a little bit and pour it back into the container that you had it from. Okay, now I'm going to develop the print. So using the same amount of time as the test strip. 2 minutes in the developer, 1 minute in the stop bath, 4 minutes in the fixer. Okay, then we're going to put it through in the wash here at the end and let it wash for 10 minutes. So here's the finished photogram after it's all said and done. So you're going to see a lot of rice off to the right hand side there and the feathers. Maybe I should have done a test strip on the rice just to make sure the rice doesn't get too dark. But that is the photogram.